Well, good morning, everyone. It's lovely to be here. My name is Caren Prentice. I'm a longtime disciple of Kriyananda's, Goswami Kriyananda. And today I was really looking forward to sharing with you. It's maybe a little more personal a teaching than sometimes we do here, but to share with you this key phrase he used called balance the imbalances in your soul, and how that kind of brought all the other things I'd been hearing together in a way that sometimes I say, I finally got it. I got it. Because when I first started coming to the temple, I was a mom of four. I was really struggling with an enormous amount of anger and hurt. And I had been raised in a way that I really believed that to become happy, I needed to just control everybody in my life. And if they would just do things the way I said to do them, well, then everybody would be happy and everything would be fine, right? But it wasn't working. It just wasn't working. And I remember one day I sent my daughter in, 10 years old, to clean the bathroom. And she's just so angry at me. And I get angry back at her and saying, just what's your attitude? Just go in there with a positive attitude and then it will be fine. It's like I realized later I was so controlling a mom. I wanted to control the way she thought, right? You couldn't just clean the bathroom. You had to clean it with joy. Well, then when I start at the temple with Kriyananda, I hear the only thing you can control is your attitude. You can't control people, events, or things. You can control your attitude. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm a pretty optimistic person. I will change my attitude. And so I thought if I changed to have a more positive outlook, to see the good in things, that would be changing my attitude. So I kind of worked on that, change my attitude, think more positive, glass half full, that kind of thing, right? But yes, I was becoming more positive, but I was still impatient. I was still angry. I was still getting my feelings hurt. And I was still really judgmental. And I'm like, oh, but I'm trying, I'm working, I'm meditating, I'm doing all this. And then the next thing that landed on me was when he shared that his guru, Shelley G, had said that one of the wisest little songs there are is the one, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. And he said, gently was the main word there. So I'm like, oh, Caren, stop controlling people. Be more gentle. Don't tell them how to live their lives. Don't tell them what's wrong with them. Learn how to be less judgmental. Be more gentle and let people be. Just let them be. So that was the next thing I really started working on, was just let people be. Just let them be. You don't have to agree, but stop trying to row their boat. Stop trying to tell them how to row their boat. Stop trying to interfere with the direction they were rowing their boat. And so this was a great, great way of me releasing my desire to control and judge everything around me. And so during these years, I'm becoming less angry. I'm becoming a little less judgmental. Then I hear this: balance the imbalances in your soul. And what I heard was, balance the imbalances in your soul, Caren. Nobody else's, yours. And somehow that one clicked. And that's when I got it, that just as the eye can't see its own eye, my eye can't see my own eye. I need to see it mirrored. I need to see it reflected back at me. That these imbalances in my soul, my judgment, my anger, my reactivity, my impatience, all of those were imbalances in me that the people in my life were revealing to me by the things that made me irritated and angry and want to control them. And so that's when I started really getting it, that when something was out of balance, and to me, out of balance meant when I was not in a place of kindness, compassion, clarity, when I wasn't in a place of calm, acceptance, and unconditional love, that if I wasn't there, then something was out of balance that needed my attention to bring it back into balance. And that my husband, my children, the people I was dealing with in my family, my neighborhood, in the different places I would volunteer, they were really gifts revealing to me what I couldn't see. I couldn't see that irritation was in my heart. I couldn't see that judgment was in my heart. And it took a situation or a person to arouse that in me to go, oh, I have irritation. I have grief. I have sadness. I have these things inside me. They're not out there. And controlling everything out there isn't going to change this. And somehow that recognition started bringing everything into place. And I literally started living, looking at what was going on inside of me is what needed my attention. That these beautiful beings were gifts to me. My children were my teachers. My husband was my teacher. And everybody else were my teachers. Politics was my teacher, right? And my job wasn't to control anything out there. My job was to let life, let people. My job was to turn around inside and go, how do I balance this irritation? How do I neutralize this anger? And what I learned was that I had to learn how to be incredibly reflective and honest. I had to learn how to literally stop and pay attention to the anger, to pay attention to the shame, to pay attention to the hurt. Because if I didn't pay attention, which is what I hadn't been doing, when I'm trying to control the rest of the world, when I'm being in judgment and I'm being in those places, I'm not paying attention to what's going on in me. And meditation is what gave me the skills to really go in and sit with my hurt, sit with my anger, sit with my shame, and not run away, not abandon it, not pretend it wasn't there, not stuff it. As Kriyananda used to say, if you just stuff an emotion, it's just going to get stuffed, and eventually it'll boom, and it'll snap and fly out there like a tightly coiled spring when you don't want it to, in a situation that's totally unrelated, and we or I would overreact, right? So that phrase combined with the skills meditation teaches, which meditation teaches us how to sit with our emotions, to sit with those really uncomfortable feelings, to sit with the shame, to sit with the hurt, to sit with the anger, and heal it in here. And I stopped saying things like you hurt my feelings. Nobody has the power to hurt my feelings. I have things in here that are out of balance and need to be brought into balance so that nobody can hurt my feelings. And when I started walking that walk and doing this work, my feelings stopped being hurt. It didn't happen overnight, but over time, my feelings don't get hurt anymore. People are people. Life is life. People think what they think. They say what they say. They do what they do. If my feelings are getting hurt, that's about me. It's not about them. I don't get angry anymore. I just got in there and I started paying attention. And I had paid attention to those parts of me that hadn't been seen, that hadn't been understood. And I gave them the gift of saying, it doesn't matter that anybody else saw you or heard you or understood you. I see you. I hear you. I understand, and I'm here. And I became my own best friend. And all of that compassion and kindness, I started turning in towards me. And I transformed in here. And this is the strangest, most coolest, wonderful part of this whole thing was as I'm starting to take responsibility for what's out of balance in me and balance it. And it was no longer, I would literally say to my husband, it's like, okay, all right, yeah, I'm a little upset right now, but this isn't about you. This isn't about you. This is about me. And I'm just going to go somewhere and take care of this and come back. And then I would go and I would go in the other room and I would just literally take the time to pay attention. What is out of balance? Why is this making me so angry? Why am I feeling so hurt? And I would look at it and I would process it through. I mean, that's a whole longer talk, right? What are the tools to do that? But we have those tools in meditation. That's what it gives us. But then it's like, okay, and I would take care of those parts of me that needed tending. I would correct the thoughts that were causing the suffering, the anger, the hurt. And then I would go back in and I'd go, okay, so what did you want to have for dinner tonight? What were we thinking? You want to go out? You want to eat in? And I wouldn't even talk about it because it was me who was upset. It was me who was hurt. It didn't matter. I didn't need him to understand what he had done to trigger me. I didn't need him to understand what had happened to hurt my feelings or make me angry. What I needed to do was process it and then learn to come back in the room kinder, gentler, not upset, and then say, okay, let's move on. I'm moving on. Let's move on. And then if I didn't come back in and make it his fault and tell him everything that was wrong, he began to believe me over time that when I said, this really isn't about you, that I meant it. Because I learned that if I leave the room and I say it's not about you, but then I come back in the room and I start talking about it, I didn't have the skills to talk about it in a way that didn't make it about him. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that took me a while to learn. But the beauty of it was, whether it was my kids, my husband, other family members, by me saying, this isn't about you, this is about me, and then leaving the room and taking care of it, and then not coming back and laying it on anybody, but just fixing me. It's like you fix the bike, somebody goes off and rides it. You don't have to sit there and tell them, remind them how it broke and all of that. You just move on. Things changed. People believed me when I said, this is about me, it's not about you. And that takes the heat off other people, right? I mean, this is me who used to always blame everybody else for what was wrong. I was raised in a house where blaming other people was our superpower. Absolutely being completely unaccountable for anything. We learned how to put it all out there. So this transformation that was happening wasn't just a transformation that was changing me. It was changing a long-standing family dynamic. And over time, it started changing the family. It started changing the way all of us interacted with each other. And it made it, the word may be a little overused, but it's true. It made it safe to be around me. I wasn't going to judge you. I wasn't going to blame you. I wasn't going to lay my ideas of who you should be on you. And what I learned is that when I balance what's inside me, I change me. I change me. Then what happens is everything around me changes. And suddenly, what I was trying to, not suddenly, you guys, it doesn't happen suddenly. This took years. I mean, I first found the temple in like 1999, 2000. And, it's been 25 years. It's not overnight, but it lasts. But what has changed is that everything I thought I was controlling everybody in my life to experience, which was a happy family, everybody getting along. when it's coming from inside here, when I'm changing it in here, I'm not trying to control it out there. It's like the whole family has changed. The whole family has changed. And it ripples out. It just ripples out. And I know that the world I live in today in my family, my relationships with my kids, my husband, are truly owed to these teachings. They're harmonious. We like getting together. There's joy. There's happiness. I mean, there's still hard stuff, but the hard stuff isn't a suffering, blaming, stew on it, get angry, hard stuff. It's hard stuff. Everybody deals with it. But having balanced the imbalances, I can show up for what is actually happening, not for what I'm afraid is going to happen, what I think might happen, what I dread might happen. Balancing the imbalances brings the wholeness, where we can show up in the moment for what is actually happening. What I've learned is we can always handle what's happening in the moment if we've balanced our souls. If we found that place inside us that is kindness, compassion, wisdom, clarity, because that's where we operate from. So it doesn't matter what the mind doesn't have to do. I can show up in the moment. I can trust that who I'm going to be in the moment will be just what that situation needs. And if I don't know what to do, I can go in the other room and balance the imbalance in my soul and come back a little bit wiser, a little bit calmer. So that's kind of the teaching that changed my world. And I'm grateful that you gave me a few moments to share it with you. And so I guess if I was to offer a takeaway, it would be, it's true. The only thing we can control is our attitude. It's true. We need to row our own boats and not try and row anybody else's or tell them how to row it. And it's also true that if we balance the imbalance in our soul, don't worry about anybody else, that's the deep, deep change that helps us become a place of that ripples. Something in us just ripples into the world and changes the world around us. And I guess the punchline would be, to everything I ever wanted, I now have. But I got it not by controlling it, but by changing me. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Nanda Lala Tere